okay, wait a second. So a guy that runs a Nitrous Corvette wants to drive something with tires that small and a car that probably does not handle all that great.
No.
But dude, he had a smile on his face that you couldn't have painted bigger just because he was out there having a good time. And it ran in the 10s. It's got an old school flathead in it and everything. It's like, yeah.
Welcome to episode 126 of the Drag Driver Pete Show presented by Summit Racing. Well, let's take this off of here. Let's bring on Mr. Derek Putnam. Hold on. Let me get it in here correctly. What the heck is going on here? Dude, what am I doing wrong?
Rookie. It's your first time?
Good evening, guys.
Hey, hang on, Derek. There we go.
All right. That's way too much for me. I need to be on a regular size.
Whatever. You're crazy, dude. We need to make you bigger. Eric, put us backstage. It's now become the Derek Putnam Show.
No, everybody has just seen me for 8 days. They don't want to see me that big. Trust me.
Yeah, it's Derek Drive Repeat right now.
Yeah. I mean,
dude, it's awesome to have you on.
I'm out of what I can say.
Well, I'm excited to have you on. Eric can attest to this. Eric, what are my notes?
Derek Putnam of Sick Magazine, Sick Smokies.
That's my notes. So,
hey, listen, if anybody's
notes and stuff.
If anybody's ever watched the show, Derek's been on a number of times. You and Derek together do not need notes. I promise.
Right. The great thing for Derek tonight and me, sadly, is that I really couldn't follow much last week, the second half of the week, because beginning Wednesday morning, I was in Tulsa doing the throwdown in T-Town and literally I had a notification. I had 1 hour on social media on Wednesday. That's abnormal for me. Usually it's 5 or 6, but I did not have time to do it because we had so much to get ready for. So Derek is really going to be like telling us what happened. So, we got a little over an hour here to kind of go over what all happened on Sick Smokies, man.
Dear God, I don't think I've recovered from the Drag and Drive hangover yet, and you want me to try to squeeze this in.
Yeah, I can't imagine. So here's my thoughts. Let's tell stories first, and then I'd like to get into winners and stuff like that and after we read the performer built thing. So like in that last 30 or 40 minutes, let's do winners and tell stories about them. But first, I want to hear dude, this is a completely new area of the country for Drag and Drive, and well, not new area for the country, but tons of new tracks, and then also Tale of the Drag.
Yeah, it was insane when you consider some of the ways that everything comes together as far as the one-offs. I was actually writing about this. The fact that Tom has had so much success with putting together Sick Week and Sick Summer, and then in 2023 we did Death Week, and it was only 80 people. And now when you consider not only has the quote-unquote community grown so much, as Eric referred to earlier, to 50 events, the fact that we did 6 events this year, including 2 week-long or longer one-offs, is just showing how much that community is growing. And the fact that we're getting that kind of response, it's probably the best thing I can say about this is there are so many God, Joe Cole. There are so many. I'll get back to that in a second because I'll lose my train of thought. There are so many great people in this community, and it literally makes me sad that I don't get to see more of them than, once or twice a year. Mm-hmm. The grim reality, and I'm going to go back just real quick. When I watched Hot Rod Drag Week on YouTube, it was how can I afford to do this? Mm-hmm. I want to know what jobs people have besides YouTube, because we've already talked about that. How do people afford to do more than one of these a year? Because, like, for example, Rovic has done more than a couple. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Richard Guido's done more than a couple. Lamar Swindell Jr., who you referred to earlier, has done more than a couple. And it almost seems like a regular recurring series where, hey, I just saw that guy a couple weeks ago and good to see him again, that kind of thing. And I guess it's hitting me a little harder today because it's the end of our 6 events that we're doing, and obviously the 2025 season's starting to whittle down a little bit. As you mentioned, there's only a handful of events left, and I feel like maybe that spilled into Sick Smokies in the fact that there was so much people that were coming because they wanted to experience the new areas, the new racetracks. But as always, we had probably, I want to say 30 to 40% people that were brand new. They had never done one before. So that really speaks to me. That's the kind of thing that really gets me energetic and wants to see that week through. And then when it all comes to a halt at the end, you're like, okay, why am I not getting up early next day and going to the racetrack?
Dude, it's the weirdest feeling ever. You know what I mean? Like it does feel very strange to be at the end of what is the craziest season ever. I mean, dude, I've gone to more events than I've been to ever. And it just continues to just astound me how many people can do, like with regular jobs, like not just business owners, you know what I mean? Like folks that have a good team that can take care of their stuff, but like people with regular jobs that go to work every day and then they're like, hey, I'm going to be gone for 10 days because I'm going to do this. You know, I think people make it a priority now. And then DeatschWerks, sir, do you want to do that one? You want me to?
I'll grab this one. DeatschWerks is a leading manufacturer of high-performance fuel system components. The DW product line includes fuel injectors, fuel pumps, pump modules, fuel rails, regulators, filters, lines, and fittings, and surge tanks. All of these items are engineered to support power levels ranging anywhere from 400 to 2200 horsepower, which we've seen while we're there, even all the way up to like 3,000 horsepower. Since its founding, DeatschWerks has been committed to delivering quality, innovation, and precision to the automotive performance industry. Every DW product is built to maximize reliability and efficiency, which is exactly what you need for drag and drive, also ensuring optimal fueling solutions for racers, tuners, and performance enthusiasts worldwide. Again, you guys can see on the screen if you're watching, use code DDR10 for 10% off anything on the DeatschWerks website. So please, if you're heading over there to get any type of fuel components, use that code DDR10 for 10% off.
Oh, yeah. And then
this is pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, this is exciting.
So at SEMA, they have released a new product. It's a 550 liter per hour pump and a 620 liter per hour pump. Man, these are going to be huge.
Well, so we've got, that gives them 420, 430, 550, 620, and 810. Yeah. So any power. Well, and the biggest benefit is like you went from 430 to 810. So you really went from, I mean, what could, be 400 or 500 horsepower pretty easy, or 600 horsepower pretty easy, to, way more than 1,000. So this gives you really that like a tailored fuel system. So you're not just absolutely dumping fuel that you don't need.
Yep. That's, and I believe these were their brushless pumps too, right?
I don't know if these are brushless or if these are, I think these are brushed pumps. They do have a full line of brushless pumps and controllers and all that kind of stuff too. So pretty awesome. I mean, we've talked to Mark Campbell quite a bit on the show here and talked about, we haven't really gotten nitty gritty and deep on this stuff, but after SEMA, that's kind of my plan, because I would like to know why. What's the difference in a 550 and a 620 other than flow? Like, why would you choose that? Like, hey, I'm going to make 700 wheel, or I'm going to make 500 wheel is a great example in the old truck. Why do I choose a 430 or a 550, instead of going ahead and running a 620 pump on there? Because, I'm going to upgrade, right? Which is what gets us all. We're all going to make more power down the road. I'm going to turn it up. I'm going to do all this, so got to kind of have those plans. Anyway. Yeah.
While I'm in there.
While I'm in there. Yep, we've all done that as well. All right. Well,
and again, I'm just and I'm being completely truthful here. I am merely one spoke in the wheel when it comes to why Sick events go the way they do. I mean, I take a lot of pride in what I do, because being a racer for 3+ decades, I know kind of the stories. I want to be able to relay those, because that gives something extra to each and every person that's out there. I don't care if you're a junior street person that's running in the 9s, or if you're, Nick Cryer setting personal bests and winning. It doesn't matter. Everybody went through sacrifices to be there. Every single person is on cloud 9 when they roll through tech on day 0. And that's something to be celebrated. And as we've talked about, and I've had this conversation with several people, the deal with what we do is it celebrates everybody. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what you're driving. It doesn't matter how fast or slow it is. Everybody has the same challenge in front of them. You need to finish the week or finish the event. And that's what brings all of us together. we all want to see everybody get there. And I feel like that was probably at play just as much in this event as it is in others. But because these are smaller events, I feel like everybody kind of gets to know everybody a little bit more. So even though this was our biggest one-off ever. So
yeah, I mean, and so I was just looking up the numbers there. So 234 people on the list for Sick Smokies, which is awesome. But 1,120 people for Sick national level events this year. Now that doesn't include your 2 weekend events, but man, that's crazy. 1,120 people.
Yeah, it's a hard number to wrap yourself around, especially when you start looking at diving into how much stuff has evolved. Like when I was looking at, when I'm finishing up the final day, and I'm looking at certain things like how somebody has progressed over the last couple of years. Like, for example, I dropped a comment in there when you guys were getting towards the end talking about Tom Bagley. Think about how far he's come with that car since 2022. Yep. I mean, he and I were joking about it. He goes, well, my career best is this. And he goes, and I don't think the air is going to be good enough, but maybe I'll get there. He ended up having to borrow an O2 sensor on the final day. And he goes, I just need it for one pass. And he blows his personal best out of the water. Yeah. And you and I were talking about it during the week and how excited he was. And it's like, think about, like you said, how much that guy goes through beyond the normal person who lives in the US or Canada. But then you had 3 guys that drove over 2,000 miles to get to the first racetrack. You know, that's the kind of thing that really does get you excited about doing this. And I think, like you said, it makes it that much harder when it's time to say goodbye at the end of the time, at the end of the week or the end of the event.
Oh yeah. Let's answer this one here, because this is a great one. So T. German says, what's the average miles do the majority want as a maximum or minimum between tracks? That is kind of a tough one. Listen, 150 is great. 300 is also great.
Yeah. Here's all I will say. I feel like there's been enough said about what really designates mileage, and I don't think it's an easy thing just to look at like a number, because I will tell you there are people that have completed and won drag and drives. But there are also people those same people that have gone to a True Street deal where it's 3 runs back to back and they don't finish or they don't do very well. Yeah. So they obviously each bring their own unique challenges, considering one is hundreds of miles, if not thousands, and the other one is only 30 miles. So it's hard to say it, but the thing that I love because of where I came from and what I do, bracket racing and index racing, is all of these smaller events are going to help in the overall scheme, because they're in more places, they're easier for people to commit to, and it provides a way. I think somebody used the words feeder system. I don't think I would necessarily classify an event as a feeder, because I feel like they're just as important to every single person. Sure, gateway drug, we can use that, but the point is that just like Test and Tunes, there are people that'll never advance past the 2 to 3 day event because that's what they can afford to do. That's what they can do with their time off. I'm not going to judge them any differently because that's what they do versus a whole event. But I do feel like I've done a 3-day cruise, I've done a 7-day cruise. You feel differently after you do the longer one.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think, and we're getting into opinions here, and we need to probably circle back to Sick Smokies after this. But I feel like the weekend, the regional stuff is great to get those people in, just like you're saying. I think once they finish that, I think they will want more. Especially like once they see that their car can do it and they're like, that wasn't as bad as I thought. Then they're going to go do a week-long one event. And then they're like, oh my God, this is awesome. Yeah.
And now thinking back about it, I brought up Joe Cole, the guy who constantly reminded me about making sure that I sent him the run order every night, or at least that I did it, because, one of the things that I feel really blessed about, and I don't want to get into me that much in this, but
that's all we want to talk about is you.
No, we need to talk about the event, not me. The one thing I will tell you is this: I always leave more oftentimes last or pretty close to last, unless somebody's thrashing on something. And as much as I try to enjoy everything, it multiplies up, obviously, if I can find somebody else that's competing that I can ride along with, because with the windows down, I can hear the car in my rental, and it's like, that's that much more exciting for me. And I got lucky. I managed to run into people most of the time along the way. And I got to roll with some gassers through Tail of the Dragon and through some of the what we called Caliente route. And I got to run into Joe and Finnegan at a couple of places where they lined up some people at one of our checkpoints. And that really just elevated everything to the next level for me. And I feel like that is the kind of thing that really does add the next element besides what everybody thinks going into it, which is, I've got to get to the racetrack. I've got to make my passes. I've got to burn the miles. Enjoy the drive that you're doing, because you'll ride alongside somebody else that you've never seen before. You might help them make it to the next checkpoint, and you'll end up making a new friend from somebody that may not even live in the same country as you, or let alone the same state as you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you'll be friends forever because you all chewed some of the same dirt,
Yep, absolutely.
Well, let's talk about Tail of the Dragon while you're kind of on it there. Hang on just a second. Let me get to where I can move through these photos here.
It's insane.
Speechless.
Absolutely insane. So let me give you a little contrast on this photo. So Case Hardy's car, I mean, I love this thing. It's a stick shift 61 Falcon. So, it's an odd car to begin with, and it just worked so well in this photo. Little backstory. What happens is whenever we decide to come up with the routes, and when I say we, I mean as an organization overall, although Tom and Luke are probably the guys more responsible for it than anything else. Luke is really the guy who does the majority of the legwork. Because of our Sick on the Green and Bowling Green, and the fact that Luke and I drove to Kentucky, we were able to pre-run most of the route for this, but we did it in May. The change from May to October, as you see in this photo, is huge. It was where I was struggling. Like, I had more people ask me at the end of the week, what do you think the best was? Death Week, 666, or this? All three of them bring their own unique things, but I feel like this kind of rises a little above because it wasn't as long. You could burn 400 miles driving across the desert during Death Week, but California was pretty cool. 66, there's a lot of history there. You can't deny that. That is why a lot of people want to do it. This really just tapped so many different senses as far as waterfalls, dams, changing colors on the trees. The fact that we went to a prison, penitentiary, for example. We got to go to Lokar. We got to go to ACES EFI. We got to visit all these truly unique checkpoints. The only thing I wish I could have done is I wish I could have gone inside the U.S. Space and Rocket Museum, but I got there too late.
Dang. How cool. Dude, the shots out of this place.
Yes.
Incredible.
So probably the biggest thing I will tell you that a lot of people were nervous about, to the point where Luke basically put a little blurb because he figured, okay, you know what you're signing up for. We've talked about Tail of the Dragon since the beginning. Now, it's not completely crazy, but it is a little bit of an exercise. I mean, you're talking about a couple hundred turns, and I think it's like 12 and a half miles, something like that. So in the directions that we put out for that day, here's the little blurb right here that shows you what you can do as an alternative. Well, apparently so many people were like freaked out that they said, okay, we want to do the alternative. When you have somebody like Nick Cryer in a 4-second 33 Ford Coupe says, screw it, I'm doing the Dragon. And you have Finnegan in a gasser say, screw it, I'm doing the Dragon. All of a sudden, some people's opinions start to change.
Yeah.
And as you could see, more and more people said, I'm not gonna waste this opportunity. I'm actually gonna go on the Dragon. So.
Well, and there's so many people like hot rodders that want to do that, and we would typically want to do it in a car that's more built for that. But like, wow, man, it was just incredible. Incredible. Like we purchased a photo package from Jesse Fox I said, man, every shot I want from the Tail of the Dragon. I was like, just whatever you get, I want that for this photo package. I want that, and man,
he was everywhere. I don't know how that dude slept.
I don't think he does. For a dude that does do drugs, he sure is everywhere.
So I will tell you this, not to take anything away from Jesse, because he did a fantastic job. I saw him in tons of places throughout the entire event. What everybody says about the Dragon and having multiple photo points along the way, they are not kidding. There were 4 different tents / banners and everything hung up in numerous locations along the Dragon that I saw. And we ran into a VW group, a Miata group, several motorcycles. I'm talking both what I call crotch rockets and touring bikes, and they were everywhere. So there were a lot of times where I had somebody come up behind me and I'm like, yeah, I'm cruising a boring rental. I'll just pull off to the side here and let you go by. And so they got to go enjoy the tail. So
Jimmy Dale put out a video that is of him driving the Rotson on the tail, and dude, it was just cool to see, man. Just really I missed that trip.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm really glad that Luke and I pre-ran this, because there were a couple of surprises that I don't think he originally had in mind that we got lucky and we snagged. But again, all the credit goes to him. I said it during the award ceremony. For him to be able to get with Tom and figure out how to put this kind of stuff together is truly insane. I mean, I just don't have the words. It's amazing. And I feel like a lot of people, considering that this was our quickest ever one-off by a lot. And we'll talk about that in the averages and everything. But it's just insane when people talked more about the holy crap, I can't believe we just did that. Can I go back and do it again or something? And, you know.
Fast Ranger Motorsports here says, can I put in my commercial for Sick Smokies 2026?
You know, the funny thing is, and I haven't talked to him about it, but the fact that Tom said he got so much response for Michigan Miles, and he got so much response for doing 666 on the 100th anniversary. So we've already scheduled our next year. So we know that we're going to go back to Michigan Miles. It's going to be different. So it will be a one-off just like before. And 666, same thing. I don't know if we're going north, we're going south. I don't know where we're going. Oh, I don't honestly know. You could hook me up to a polygraph. I do not know. Like, he and I talked about it, and he smirked a little bit, and he goes, I honestly don't know. He goes, I got about 4 or 5 things in my head. And he goes, but we'll come up with something good. And I said, all right. So, you know, again, I'd love to be able to go back. I feel like the tracks that we went to, they were ready. That was probably the biggest thing I can tell you that was different about this. I'm not trying to bash anybody else, but when you look at the averages, you can tell just how good everything was.
That's awesome, man. It's just so crazy. The views that came out of that, and just all the stuff that came from that event. Hang on, here we go. What am I doing wrong here? There we go. Put you back big. Make me big again. Yeah, just really, I mean, you know, again, for one-off stuff, for fun events, I think you guys killed it.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. It you know, again, it means a lot to the team to be able to do these very unique deals, because Sick Week and Sick Summer are so much fun. And as much as we rotate the racetracks and try and do new checkpoints and everything, doing a one-off event truly brings what you're doing to the next level. You may never have this chance again. We may never do Death Week again. We may never do something on the West Coast. So those 80-ish people that did that, they hold that event in a special place to be able to say, I competed and I did over 2,000 miles in 9 days. So, but it's completely different than what we just did.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you, 666 for 2026. Really, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be going on that whole drive. It's going to be packed with people in every aspect. We've talked about this several times, but state of Oklahoma is planning for more than what is now 3,000 people a month. They're planning for more than 20,000 people a month during the peak season. So it should be absolutely insane.
I'll bet that they would do it. Oh man, I like that idea.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That. All right, sweet. I like that. Thank you very much, sir. Shoot me a message, I guess, when we get done, and we'll put that together.
Yeah.
And Tanya already thinking right along the lines of where I'm at.
Oh, yeah.
The Gassers brought it to the next level. We told them, hey, put on a show. Some of the fans that are out here, and we look at Jay's car right now, they brought the next level. And that is not an insult to anybody that did not drive a gasser. But when Jimmy Dale, who has never done a drag and drive before and has driven a ton of fast stuff, comes up to me and says, dude, I need to buy a gasser. Do you know anybody that's selling one? And I'm like, you're serious, aren't you? And he goes, I love this crap, dude. This thing's amazing.
Yeah. The gasser stuff was cool. It looks like there were several gassers in that, 50 plus gassers on the list there, just based on what I was looking through there. So super cool. I love this shot of Tanya. There's a shot here in the next segment, but I'm going to go ahead and show it now because she's in here. This one here.
Yeah. She's holding
the green
spirit.
helmet. Yep. Holding the spirit there. It's pretty cool, man.
Yep, I said during the award ceremony, because that green is not too far off my own personal car. I told Jay, I'm like, dude, if you don't want to hold on to this, I will gladly take care of it for you. I won't even wear it. I'll just find a nice dust-free place for it. But apparently that one is going to have a special place in the Grabiak household. And again, that's a name that's been around Drag and Drive for so long.
Yep.
So for them to be able to come out and have such a good time and get rewarded for embracing really what they do, but to the next level. Now, I will tell you this. Tanya told me she had never done backup duties, or she was very uncomfortable with doing them. Sure as heck didn't look like it. She was a natural. She really kicked butt on it.
Yeah, all the photos I saw her, she's running in every one of them, which I think is like a staple in the backup girl scene there. One thing we didn't even talk about, and I didn't grab a photo of it, but was the Broadway in Nashville. Bro,
that was insane.
Some of those videos came out just wow.
So let me throw a little something out here, because I actually have some notes on that, and I'm gonna kill Eric's. That's one of like 5. So I really got to shout out the really great media guys and gals that we have. Lexi, who works out of our Michigan office, Luke, who obviously has been on board with Tom since it started back in 2021, and Pavi, who is a really well-established photographer, joined us for this. Again, he joined us for 666 last year. He does a great job with picking up, like a theme or what he really likes to dig into. And then Matt Rickey, we talked about, he is just an absolute boss. That guy every single night was in a hotel room chugging away on a video for Tom's channel that went out the next day. And he, because I was last, he's like, hey, anything that you see, any trailer burnouts, anything cool, send them over to me. He goes, I want to add them into my arsenal. So he tried to balance everything out really well. And we got lucky. I managed to catch a couple trailer burnouts at the penitentiary before they closed. I managed to get a couple of drive-bys, again, when they're way ahead of us, because we have to try and split things up.
Man. That's so, yeah, Ricky's one of the hardest working dudes out there.
He is. And if you don't know who he is, we have two Aussies, one tall guy, one short guy. Luke is the short guy. Ricky's the tall dude. His real name is not Ricky. His real name is Matt, but his last name is Ricky, and that's what everybody calls him. So
yeah, Jack Weatherford here saying video products team was top notch, man.
So let me tell you something. If you ever get a chance to run into that guy at an event, you need to talk to him. His connection with the original 2-lane blacktop car and everything. Oh yeah, I had a chance to talk to him about it a little bit. He had some time on the last day when we were waiting out the rain delay with Finnegan, and you could see the magic and the wheels turning and everything. It's like, again, it's his car right there, the Beast. It is a literal, just, you could see decades and worlds colliding when you start talking about that stuff, and it all makes sense.
Yeah, Jack is one of my favorite folks in drag and drive. This car is a stick shift car, big block, just fun. That dude's always having a blast. I met him at Sick Week 25, and we had a great time. We've talked several times since then, so pretty cool, man.
Yep. No, he's, again, just one of several people that I was fortunate enough to meet last week. I'm having a hard time here just because, honestly, I think it's a lot of things combining. I feel pretty much, I think, like you and Eric do. I feel very lucky to be able to do what I'm doing. And it's a lot of stress and it's a lot of not sleeping, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. There are such great people that we get to interact with.
And the one thing that's great about 230 cars on property is you literally, every step you take is a new car, a new story, a new person to talk to. And that can really get you in trouble. Eric knows. Here's some photos. Here's a new video I need to shoot. Oh, man, here's this I need to do. And you try and get to the hotel room at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So you throw some stuff together. And then it's 1 a.m. and you're trying to throw it together and going to sleep at the hotel table there, So,
oh, yeah. I have a really bad habit of falling asleep in my chair. So and I do that at home too. So.
Oh yeah.
We've set alarms to nap while a video was rendering, and then so we could wake back up and finish it.
Yeah, just give me.
All right, it uploaded that part. Let's get to the next thing.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, okay. So it exported to the thing. Okay, perfect. Now I need to load it. Okay, that's 23 minutes. Good, I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to run through these photos real quick before we wrap up the DeatschWerks segment again. Again, this is kind of our talk about the drive, the route stops, and all that kind of fun stuff. Dude, this shot right here.
So
that will be
top.
Yeah, that and the gasser shot that you had just a little while, I think it was like 2 or 3 back. That one. Yeah. That's at one of the 2 overlook style checkpoints that we did. So the fact that you've got all the way on the left, you've got David Schroeder's 32 Ford.
Oh,
You sit there and think about that, and you're going, okay, wait a second. So a guy that runs a Nitrous Corvette wants to drive something with tires that small and a car that probably does not handle all that great.
No.
But dude, he had a smile on his face that you couldn't have painted bigger just because he was out there having a good time. And it ran in the 10s. It's got an old school flathead in it and everything. It's like,
In the 8th. 10s in the 8th.
Exactly. Which is getting something for, like I said, for a car like that. We'll talk about Matt Donovan, obviously, in Garbage at Barfed. He had an amazing event. And then right next to him is Jeremy Bonnet, Sick Week winner with Last Penny, the 33 Willies. And right behind them is a guy who had made 0 drag strip runs before he got to Edelbrock Sick Smokies. That's Eric Beckener in the Dry Bones 67 Tempest gasser wagon.
Yeah, talk about a super cool car. That's the car we featured early last week that had Drag Driver Pete hand painted on the back deck. Dude, big block, 468 cubic inches, big Pontiac gasser built and 4 dudes riding in that thing.
So
That's
yeah,
why
so Eric and
wagons are the best. I
yeah,
wanna build
Eric
a
and
wagon.
2 of his really good friends built that car, and Eric told me, he goes, you wouldn't have believed I'd have 0 drag strip runs when I built this car. I'm like, nope, not exactly what I would have aimed for, but yeah, sure. I mean, it had a scoop literally almost the height of the roof, and it was a tunnel rammed Pontiac with twin carbs. They looked like they were just having an absolute blast. By the middle of the week, they got that thing figured out, and it was toting the left front wheel probably 2 feet in the air while the right one was still on the ground. So
that's awesome. Yeah, if that doesn't make you want to build a big body gasser, I don't know what would.
I honestly feel like, based on rumors I've heard, I would not be surprised if we see two to four new gassers next year.
Oh,
And they are current participants. How about that?
Yeah, you mean like 200 to 400?
No. 2 to 4 that I've heard from reliable sources, but not reliable enough that I've gotten in touch with the people and said, "Hey,
when can we see it?" Yeah, just a great group of cars, man. It really it looks like just a ton of really cool stuff. This low shot here of Jack's.
I love that.
So the previous one, I'm going to throw something out there just because I know you guys have run into them before. The Reimars family actually joined us for this as well in son Jace's LTD, and they were riding 4 deep in that car. So it was Jim and his wife Nicole, and then Jace was riding in the back. I forget who number 4 was, but it wasn't Cole. He had to work. That's the other son. So normally they've always competed at Six Summer. They haven't missed a year yet, but it turns out that Music City is not very far from them. That's like kind of their home racetrack.
Oh, wow.
So Jim, the dad, who was always out on the starting line, waving everybody in and helping work on stuff and what have you, this was his first ever drag and drive behind the wheel.
Cool.
Oh, dude, he was having a blast doing it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's Eric Bettner right there.
Yeah, man.
So, and then right behind him is, in this photo, is Jeff Sixt, who's competed in a ton of drag and drives. This is his 3rd car. He built a 63 Studebaker Lark specifically to compete in the gasser class. He has a 75 Camaro and a C10 pickup truck.
Yeah, he was putting a transmission in that thing like Monday night, or no, the Thursday night before the event, or something, like days before. Converter and a transmission. It was some big long story. So big shout out to man, lots of thrash stories. Didn't really get into a whole bunch of those before the event because I was getting ready for the throwdown. But that's awesome that Jim drove and raced. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you could see a slightly different smile from him. I mean, normally he and his family are so enthusiastic when they're doing an event like this, but the fact that he was wearing an open face helmet, doing big burnouts in the car, and just fully embracing the fact that, hey, I finally get to earn my rookie stripes, quote unquote, because if you ever seen the car before, they use yellow tape across the back bumper and it says rookie stripe. So that's what they do every time they're somebody new drives it. So from what Dean Nicole mentioned is they're going to have another new driver in, I think, 3 years, possibly enter Junior Street. So we'll see how that works out.
How cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, big shout out to DeatschWerks. Again, 10% off, code DDR10. If you guys are looking for any fuel system stuff, they've got it. Eric listed all of the stuff they had earlier. And basically, it's anything that is fuel related for your hot rod. They have. Hit them up, DeatschWerks.com, and DDR10 when you place that order. Or if you have some questions, hit us up. We'll get you in contact with one of the technicians over there, or Mark Campbell if you need questions that are in depth, super smart technical stuff. Well, y'all know the deal here. We can't do this without you guys. So thank you for being our race car friends. We appreciate y'all very much. I am asking that you hit that share button tonight as we get into this, because this show is going to be a good one. I see Skylar James there saying it is the Eric White. That is exactly right. Eric is a well-known, I guess famous person within the office there. So anyways, thank you guys so much for being around here. Thank you so much for what you guys do for us. We try and do a lot for you guys, and we appreciate everything that y'all do for us. And thank you to our sponsors, man. Without these guys, we really couldn't do what we're doing. And so we just ask that whenever you are shopping, not even spending money, but just shopping, hit these guys up, see if they've got something that would work for you. So, when you're out there looking, Summit Racing, DeatschWerks, Molly Motorsport, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solutions, AFCO Racing Products, Performer Built Transmissions, Car Chains 3D, Power Tube TV if you want to watch some automotive related stuff, WAF Racing if you're looking for some super cool carbureted 3D printed stuff, Sweet Patina for the best hand cleaning wipes on the market, and then Racing Junk Classifieds, who has a dedicated drag and drive section. So